Hello, my name is MarioAyala, and I going to talk about the Playboys company. And nowadays, an increasing progressive attitude towards sexuality in all areas is I seen among people, see on poster, on television, on movies and music and magazines. But there was a time when it was not. It was like this. Um, in the years after the Second World War, second stayed at home if it was said the woman should be at home taking care of children, cleaning and making food well. Men could go out to building, get married, and not that it was what all men wanted. Um, like sex was taboo, and the doctor Alfred published his book Sexual Behavior, where he shared sexual experiences of men, published in 1948. Shocked the public to these vulgar roots. But Alfred book only served to inspire 27 years old Chicago man, and her name is Hugh Master Hefner. He born in 26 April 26. He was an American magazine publisher. He was the founder and editor, the chief of Playboy magazine, a publication with revealing photographs and articles that spoke allegation in observantly. He was a middle class man who was not conformist at all desperation to raise his children was too great. During 15th magazine Square came out with inflames Hefner. The magazine had an fluid cartoons and Square things removed. It was returned into general interest magazine. Society had become more conservative, and Frankie Hefner did not feel identified with that. Someone that Hefner test an idea that was blowing his mind in just over 8,000, and in his pocket almost, and only invested friends and family. He bored her family. Sat in the kitchen his mother Chicago apartment, and began to put together his project, his dream of life. So he created a magazine, Star Party. The magazine has inspired by the cartoon to from in the 13th, and the seasons titulated the deer the season. Hefner used the male deer hand and the last minute stag. Magazine where the name was copyright infringement, so they go to the work and throw of memes. One night, Hefner called Eldon Sayers, co-founder, executive vice president, and he born in March 9, 1921. Passed away at the Queen of Valley Hospital in Napa, California in 2016. After a brief illness, they got together to find another name. Sellers was the mother worked for the Playboy automobile in the company. Chicago company suggested Playboy. So they got work and shipped the deer hair for rabbit. The rabbit. He has an playful, sexy, and sophisticated. By doing a daring move inside the magazine notoriety, Hefner also acquired the rights to an infamous but little seen calendar of young Marilyn Monroe naked. She says the sweet hair of month. Monroe was the first of the centerfold in December the 50s. Playboy Enterprises in Playboy Enterprises. He'd no sense with no date because they weren't sure what second issue would do. At the time, John Hefner only had to cross his fingers and hope to be lucky. The rest is history. A few days after having published the first number, income was so great that it and was moved to publish a second or third, even fourth, and Hefner was aware that if they wanted to continue to be successful, he had to make a better and born in print in quality writing. So the Playboy put semi-abstract or totally abstract realistic images. Artistic director Art Paul. He is founding art director and Playboy. Better known Art Paul. He born in January 18, and he was an American graphic designer, creator of Playboy magazine Rabbit. He was the art director of the same magazine for 30 years. If erased the border between commercial art and the plastic arts for Hefner, that line should not exist. Director Paul was inspired by the comment from Andy Warhol. When asked what do you do with commercial artists, to which respect all art is commercial. He said all art is commercial. Many artists who appear in the Playboy exhibit their works in galleries. Leroy Newman was the first painter and plastic artistic to exhibit works in galleries. At the beginning, when Hefner no found. He filled the pages and magazine with fiction and no fiction, reading the renowned authors, which he obtained, but by repairing collection of books that he didn't have, and when he was able by those authors, they began to reign, obtain the and give him permanent look to magazine. Society was closed completely in the segment with what Playboy published, but Playboy insists that they began to give the message that told people that sex was part of their life and part of they and that there was nothing wrong. Unfortunately for Playboy, government censorship and the incredible bureaucracy were no longer forgetting the Hugh Hefner and magazine. For many, they imagined a naked woman and Playboy were obscene. The May detiene the publication permit their second class postage permit. A second class postage permit is a special permit that is available for newspaper and magazines that are sent by mail. The mail service refused to give them that permission. This was bad enough since the possession service is of the life death of the magazine or the newspaper. In order to control content, Playboy had legal problems, and trial took place the Washington D.C. and given second prestige against class. For Playboy, the class with postal service will be just the first many other obstacles that the company will soon begin to face. The country was about the through sexual revolution. The Hugh Hefner was in the line of the fire. Year after year, issue after issue. The Playboy was more and more directed, became the most imitated magazine, with about 50 Playboy imitation magazine appeared. Hefner bought building across Chicago's largest Catholic church, and that was not good at all. In the government was corrupt, very involved. Hefner was one of the best known citizens of time. Yet they were embarrassed in 16th generation began with was only fought legal counts, but also in the streets on the pages of the Playboy. In October 24, the Playboy made this first foray in the world of television with the program Playboy's Penthouse. This program was designed to be sold at the night times. The big television networks, I say sold, since it was recorded sponsor or legal problems. They only vote the only vote is that he was interested in him this show featuring suspension mix the adult entertainment featuring amazing musicians, clever conversations, and some the comedians of the day. The recently divorced Hugh Hefner also participate, always accompanied by the most beautiful woman in Chicago. The concept of the show was that you were at party, the people drinking real drinks. The show also broke out the schemas for total different reason. It's completely and deliberately broke racial barriers. Hugh Hefner was constantly attacked because he shows future people of color, and that was frowned upon the time. He changed the anti-racial culture since he had no problem featuring people of color on his show. The Playboy interviews began in September and in 62. Over the years, people such as Fidel Castro and Muhammad Ali and John Lennon. A few months after the premiere of the Playboy Penthouse, Hugh Hefner also offered his first party to the public inauguration. The first of the Playboy clubs that later became very famous. They published the article Playboy magazine about the Chicago's light. This was a private club with a key. You had have the key to enter. The receive more 1,000 letters from. He received more than 1,000 letters from the readers asking how to request a key to enter that club. When they realized that so many people wanted to be at those parties take place in the Playboy Penthouse, they said, but should we open a Playboy club? Now the Playboy reader could personally experience the urban sophistication displayed on the Playboy pages. Only people with the membership key could attend it. Since then, he got used to how the Playboy girls were going to dress up bunnies, since they were a symbol the company. In their nightclubs, the girls felt comfortable, attractive, and above all, that they were dominating in clubs, since all AEs were on them. In addition to that, like a little fantasy for the bunnies. They were the first white club to hear a black comedian, Dick Gregory. The ideas of the breaking down racial barriers and having quality also applied to the club business. No one was detaining membership in the Playboy clubs. Hefner said that in his house there was no racial intolerance because they had teach him. Ay, perdón. As a child that began racist is not natural. He said racism isn't not natural. So all that racism was strange to him. So states, especially Louisiana, says that letting people of color go to clubs was against the law. There could be no racial integration under state law, and that doesn't seem like that to him too. So he went black to buy back in franchises and decided personality care of the clubs pay via franchises. Hefner said, "This is what I believe in, and this is how it will be done." Que es lo que él cree y es lo que se va a hacer. That's something the Playboy is proud of saying, that bigots and racists will be lockfish. So Hugh Hefner continued to energize his enemies, and in June 4, after posting a nude article on popular actress James Mansfield, Hugh Hefner was arrested and charged with obscenity. In 1962, everything began to change. New technology, new ideas, and new ways to thinking. So Hefner decided to start writing the philosophy of the Playboy. Hugh Hefner spent day and night writing critics on articles that about sex in the law of United States. There was woman saving service of international homicide or abortion. He also learned to a man in West Virginia, who had been sent prison recibió una afelación o algo así, which they considered sodomy. and Ross cream far worse than homicide. So that man was serving a harsh sentence for having received the oral sex. Hefner got him out of prison, and they both inspired the Playboy to make their foundation, Playboy Foundation. In the second half of the 60s, series of the terrible political assassinations and incredibly cruel war in Vietnam terrorized the United States. The public was no longer satisfied with the poor status, the conservative attitude of the 50s give way to newer ideas, and the institution received attacks all kinds. So Hefner was where he got his legendary motto, which was "Make love, no war." He is my "Make love, no war." And ay, se cayó. In July 1st, the Playboy company opened a new club in London, offering liberal Europeans the same experience as in the United States, but not with the attraction. Gambling was generated more income for Playboy to feed as growing empire. Hefner went to open his new casino in London, and when he environment and the conservative methods, sexual promiscuity era promiscuo was felt in air on Broadway, on television and movie screen, and overwhelming evidence began to be seen that the world was changing and fast. The methods anticonceptive or the pill that time was a crucial innovation that the history of sexuality, making it much more feasible that sexual relation could pass tear gas, as they call it. A woman could take a pill and protect them from pregnancy. What sigue? Okay. When the liberal 16s were about the no, Hugh Hefner celebrated the same lake and almost complete victory over sexual conservatives. The program Playboy After Dark passed to the program Playboy Penthouse. The new series same relaxed and relaxed style and difference than it was in a color, and Barbie Benton era novia de Hugh Hefner. He says the program was like a reality show. They drank champagne. Suddenly the boss said, "Hey, play a song," and they did. They danced. They had found the most wonderful thing, and about the show. The Playboy was doing very well with the radical change it was making, but it still didn't realize that this was double-edged sword. Hefner adquired in 70s. Hefner acquired the mansion, the Playboy mansion, and celebrities in the area were excited to learn to the Hefner had moved in Los Angeles and was constantly visited them. Uh, the best-selling Playboy magazine in Mexico, the most watched, the Playboy Lena era rusa, creo. Suddenly, the films called Triple X began to go viral and pass the threshold of the decency and become responsible. In the mid 70s, Playboy began to make very commercial film among where Marvel and Money Python. And Playboy was kept popular its circulation in the early 70s has reached vendió como 7 millones de copias, creo. Strong rivals the come such as Penthouse and Hustler. They were putting more explicit photos, and the fact was something called the public wars. Since everything was making more explicit between these magazines, Hefner in order not to be left behind, put Marilyn Cole as her first note front to body playmate in the magazine. Thousands of copies were sold. Se vendieron bastantes copias. Hefner decided to withdraw the fight and said whoever said that the Playboy is pornography says nonce. If Playboy is Playboy is pornography, then everything sexual is pornography. The true obscenities in the world do not have much to do with sex, but with intolerance and hatred and war and murders. So that magazine that had started on the table in the apartment had become worldwide brand with shares for public sale in the New York Stock Exchange. The so-called income was not paying dividends, and it also charging adeptos for afford the Watson be recognized. Betty Friedan started the feminist marches. Fue la primera feminista, fue la que sacó todo esto de los feminismos marches, and was totally against the Playboy and everything that responded. So Playboy had made great enemies, not only from feminists. Playboy, they were a successful track record. The nightclub permits began the withdrawal. Hugh Hefner was arrested for the Jane Mansfield. Jane Mansfield, she is can write the Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner and Bobby Arnstein was arrested in Chicago, alleged that she and her boyfriend were involved in drug traffic ring, to which local authority started to link Playboy and Hugh Hefner himself. They told Art Ernstein that he did say the Hefner had to withdraw traffic. His so 15-year sentence would be forgotten, and she for no reason Hefner committed suicide, and there was a very hard blow for Hefner and for his entire company. At the beginning, worst problem came since the economy of the United States had been strongly affected by a double-digit inflation communicated for years. There were high unemployment rates and global trade to unlimited supply of oil, and this hit the Playboy hard. And Playboy was forced to think less about the fund, more getting financing. In an effort to sustain company, Playboy took a risky move and opened the luxury and expensive casino in Atlantic City. Everything of the seemed normal. In Playboy, a scandal broke out that involved the Playboy clubs in London. The Playboy objected to gambling permit requires the competition, and that was so until the manager he scared his own report on the Playboy. He led directly to auditoria at the Playboy headquarters in Mayfair. We was called that this one dog devours on another. It was believed that the note ended the Playboy, but there was beginning of the end. His license to have casinos in England was withdrawn, as well as license to operate his newly completed casino in Atlantic City. In less than 10 years of Playboy went from began campaign and produced more than $30 million in profit. Cuando Playboy reportaba como estaba reportando 50 millones en bajas. 50 millions. Hefner know that for his company survive, he had to rebuild in almost from its foundations, and that company survived, and she turned on the few people in the life who she could trust with her vision, and her 29-year-old daughter, Christine Ann Hefner, is was the former CEO and chair of the board director in Playboy Enterprises. The company created her father. From the beginning, she was working from Chicago and asked to provide her ability to run the company, and Hefner gave into her. They both made a very good team, since they had different spheres of influence. His first passion were creative and editorial, and her focus has strategic and managerial. Eran totalmente diferentes, pero eso le hacía un bien a la empresa. Hebner, as always, an anti-racial, began the same virtues, having the daughter and not son running the business. It was never consequently a family business, but it turned out to be, Hebner said. Under the mandate of Christine, not only did the survivor, they even began to prosper. She began to see the company not as a content creator, but rather use the media platform. They began to make business patterns around the world. With they could sell the magazine in 24 countries. International television channels were made. They have merchandise around the world. But it did not take long to fail again to the underlying political change in the mood of the country. The conservatism was perceived that subtly in political culture and in a society what could mean in a Ronald Reagan revolution. He wanted to finish to Hugh Hefner and everything he stood for. Shortly after Reagan was re-elected, he began a crusade suspended by Attorney General Edwin Meese, pushing his famous commission for pornography. The protests against Playboy began. The commission withdraw the magazine from the shelves, from all the corners, and also from the military bases. The Barrel and Hefner's dream were making a sexual utopia. Era una utopía sexual. He was the target of the attack by the fact that global pandemic SIDA was spreading all over the world. Ay, perdón. A disease the would climb more, enfermó a millones. In the 18th were breaking havoc on Playboy magazine, and Hugh Hefner himself was not only affected financially but also physically. A sus 58 años, creo, 58 years. Okay, 50 years, il millionaire discovered upon waking that was impossible from the read a single line from his own magazine. Hugh Hefner has suffered a stroke. Hugh Hefner recovered 7% from the illness, but they made him revenge himself as he decided the revolt heal his life. And so he made a decision mirrored. He had two children and Playboy Mansion, and there was but only 9 years later, Hefner decided to separate his Kimberly Conrad, and the Playboy Mansion was the same again. There was again too much demanding for the Playboy, and the parties became unsupportable, and the media soon recorded it. According to Donald Trump, Hefner really understood the art they using the media much better than anyone in his generation. He did something that has been done very really. He became a company in depth on the personal image, and there has been a huge asset for the Playboy. In 2003, Playboy celebrated this 50th anniversary, and 2 hours televised party, and you like Playboy Penthouse and Playboy After Dark, as if the idea were recovered to 2 years of marriage. No, Hefner was showing up to 3 girlfriends, and on 6 and then 7. In the long run, Hefner number of girlfriends was reduced, and and the three left, which made a reality show called the Next Door. Its weekly audience, 5 millones de 5 millions of viewers. In 2006, Playboy opened the first Playboy club in the United States from more than 20 years, the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas. The company had helped change the world. Hugh Hefner wanted to say that way. The global recession, Kristen resigned as general manager of Playboy after 20 years, and a new CEO, Sam Flanders, named, and the new editors, Jimmy Yelling, where here the turn into the global consumer, and will all Playboy the return to roots at the private company. But Miriam still granted a lifestyle magazine. Playboy executives knew that addition to providing entertainment for men, the motto also had to be diversified or die. They ran clothing, perfume, condoms, and editorial groups, Playboy magazine, Playboy News, Playboy TV, consists of 12 digital networks, and Playboy Online, Playboy.com, PlayboyStore.com, Playboy Games, and radio, and license group, Collins, Playboy, trademarks on clothing accessories, collectionables. This box is collectionable. This um, Playboy also ran around 40 Playboy Club proprietaries from 60s, and Playboy also opened casino in Nassau in Bahamas, and in Mexico it's a large way to fact distribute through department stores that are very popular with Mexicans. As a couple or shoe stores and convenience stores, in sex shop, pharmacies, and you can also find the internet pages where I can access in their content the erotic, informative music, video images, in television for pay or transmit them. In response, Playboy decided the magazine to young people between the ages of 18 and 35, including interviews the personalities more appropriate to this audience, such as hip-hop artists in recent years, because now the Playboy that great impact on the female market with 40% subscribers who are women, and the brand can save millions in distribution since it does the not have to pay their parties. The same Playboy brand is the dealer of the department and convenience stores, where is various products can be found, and why the strategy to reach a broader audience, and which mean goodbye to total nudity. The company that controls the magazine Playboys analyzed the sales. The Wall Street Journal revealed that the Playboy Enterprises is considering the possibility of transaction for which it could obtain more $500 million to carry out the operation. The company hired the bank Moels and Co. Just in January, it was announced that the Playboy mansion in Los Angeles was up for sale with a price to 2,000 millions, creo, of dollars. Risby Trasbaches Magnum currently owns two tiers of magazines investment capital, while Hugh Hefner, the founder, owns the limited notes in the publication. However, it seems that Monsieur work since with the first number without naked woman sells in Pamela Anderson has record for appearance. The magazine was in charge of sharing in the last issue the notes in reaching the top in 17th. Playboy has seen show declining in circulation success, partly to investment in nightclubs and casinos, and partly due to the strong competitiveness of some the others company, as well as the rise the erotic and pornographic pages on the internet. In Macau City, Playboy Enterprises Inc. introduced the plans to open Playboy-inspired the multifaceted entertainment decision in Macau. Playboy opened the exhibit the Beverly Center, the two shows historic ever forcing Mongolia the last 6 decades pulled from Playboy's archives. Freedom is a Playboy exhibition is the first it's kind of pop up in Los Angeles, Playboy Enterprises Delaware Corporation today announced the closing acquisition in holdings. Following the previously announced the expiration of the purchases outstanding shares Playboy Class A common stock and Class B common stock purchaser wholly owned subsidiary Econ Major so in accepted for payment and purchased for 6.15 per share. The merger was effective on March 4. Playboy Class A common stock was suspended from trading on the New York Stock Exchange prior to the May opening on March, and Playboy Class B common stock was suspended from trading on the New York Stock Exchange after they closed the business. The brand has established 30 high-end locations across the USA, extended into the select international markets, and each avenue is supported with access to Playboy's vast promotional resources. Playboy is seeking expert hospitality operation with proven track records and passion for high standards in food and beverage, flowing their interest in media, the entertainment. PB Live has signed the master and executive franchise license agreement with Playboy Enterprises USA for the use to the Playboy brand in India for various business. Sales for Playboy magazine peaked in 7 million copies, and in 2018, less than the year, and you have not dead, and he stayed sold the remaining 33% Playboy shares were 35 million to Econ Artisan Holdings. The money was developed between Hefner widow and the 4 children. Playboy Enterprises closed his former headquarters upper floors in offices in Chicago. A company said employed 1,160 employees. The licensing segment licenses the Playboy names, the rabbit head, and design and other images, trademarks and artwork appear on a wide range customer products on 1 billion in global retail sales spreads and vapor products among Playboy's latest licensing ventures. Playboy record number 56 among the top 150 global licensors by License Global magazine. Currently, the licensing division accounts for about 50% the revenue Playboy Enterprises. The publishing segment publishing Playboy magazine, its special edition and calendars, and control the license and the magazine international editors. Playboy began print editors in Argentina and Slovakia in international editions. There is nothing revolutionary about the men exploiting women for their own sexual gratification or financial gain. Carl Hushan wrote for Glamour magazine after his death. It has been happened for hundreds of years, and it is called patriotic. Hefner didn't shy away from notorious appreciation for women's bodies, admitting to Vanity Fair in 2010 that he actually did consider women objects. Hefner was married to 3 women, selected with thousands and current countless girlfriends. Many of them Playboy playmates would live with him and mentioned in the Playboy pages. There are some articles that can help so the environment, such as minimal waste bars, can make optimum pleasure. The movement to make bars eco-friendly goes beyond stores have become the environment's number one enemy. Our attention to the natural also includes focusing on reducing an environmental footprint of what the sustainability covers a lot grown from the biggest, smallest things. Playboy Enterprises Inc. is an American privately held global media Lifestyles company, founder Hugh Hefner to overs the Playboy magazine and related asset. Is currently headquartered Beverly Hills in California. Playboy magazine on the world's best known publishing brands has accounted was it will stop playing the coronavirus crisis and problems in the supply chain have finished of the paper edition. The wallets are under plenty. Playboy best-selling product as the are still easy to make and very accessible to the general public. Playboy Stock Exchange is 2020 height and 6.200 140 low as of today. Playboy mission statement. Her vision of the world, a place for everybody, and everybody to experience the light and surprise and enjoy. After all, freedom is meaningless if enjoyed by only privileged few. Not only in the fields of the sexual product and individual freedoms of, but also for the contribution of Playboy in the preservation of film material and and in matters of mental health and human rights, and now really as you Playboy change world, if it did, it like has improved with the changes. For my part is all, and thank you for attention, and see you tomorrow.